We'll call to order the Board of Supervisors meeting for Monday, June 19th, 2017. And I'd like you to rise with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Amy, how about a roll call to establish a quorum?
Supervisor John Stavenus.
Here.
Supervisor Linda Waite.
Present.
Chairman Dan Wolfel.
Here.
Supervisor Chuck Tice.
Here.
Supervisor Tony Haynes.
Here.
All right, good to go. Let's take a couple minutes and go around and introduce ourselves, and then we'd ask the audience to do that as well. So, Amy, why don't you start?
Amy Fluck, Clerk Treasurer, County Road P.
Tony Hayne, Town Supervisor and Park Rec Chairman, Matthew Road.
Chuck Tice, Supervisor, Bay Shore Drive.
Dan Wolfel, Chairman, Park Road.
Linda Waite, Town Board Supervisor and County Board Supervisor for District 14, residing on Court.
John Stavnes, Supervisor, Whitefish Bay Road.
Well, how about we start on the left there with this gentleman? That would be you.
Richard Wyman, 4108 South Country View Road.
Karen Gundrum, just not where I live. Oh, Sturgeon Bay.
Sure.
Andy Gundrum, husband.
He lives with me
In Sturgeon Bay.
in Sturgeon Bay.
Good to
Yes.
know.
Mark Neistat, 374 Huron Road, Green Bay.
Jim Nolan, 4501 Lori Lane.
Mary Ellen Ramstack, 4613 East Bay Shore Circle. Nancy Goldberg, Linden Drive.
Leo Zipper, Bay Shore Drive.
Tom Ash, Northeast Asphalt, Jacksonport.
Good. Well, thank you all and welcome to our meeting. Next item on our agenda is public participation. If there's anybody here that would like to speak on a topic that is not on our agenda, please let me know and we'll give you a few minutes to tell us your area of interest. I see multiple hands up. Oh, okay, we'll pass that. If you have something during a particular topic, we'll give you an opportunity to voice your opinion. Okay, let's look at the agenda. Has it been properly noticed?
The agenda has been properly noticed.
We need a motion to adopt.
We adopt the agenda for our June 19th, 2017.
Second.
Motion by Chuck, second by Tony for the adoption of the agenda for June 19th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion's carried. All right. Approval of minutes, which was from the initial adjourned Board of Review from May 15th. And you also have the Board of Supervisors meeting minutes from May 15th. Any additions, corrections, or changes?
I move that we approve the Board of Review adjourned May 15, 2017, and the May 15th Town Board Supervisors meeting.
I'll second that too.
Sounds like a repeat. Motion by Chuck, second by Tony to approve the minutes from the Board of Review from May 15th, Board of Supervisors as well on May 15th. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to take just a second before we move up on this topic on minutes. Linda sent me a note a week or so back suggesting that rather than the minutes come strictly to me for revision, that we consider sending the minutes out to the entire board so that when we get to the meeting, we will already have had any changes updated through Amy. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Linda, do you have any added detail to that?
Well, my thought was, if we wanted to catch typographical or grammatical errors, rather than bringing them up that evening, they could be caught ahead of time. And if it was something serious as to rewording or redoing the verbiage, then they would need to contact the chairman in order for that to be changed, so.
Which I thought was not a bad idea. Does anyone have any feeling towards that?
I think it's a good idea. We do it with our committees.
Okay. Well, let's go with that as a change in the future, Amy, and then the only question would be is once it gets out there, need a timely review, not the day of. So we'll try that next month and see how it works. Okay. John, you wanted to change,
But you didn't approve that in the agenda. We
I'm
can move it.
pardon me?
Can we still move it?
Yeah, we can still move them up.
So,
We want to move up the item from new business, Andrew and Karen Gunrud? Gunrud. Their request to rezone from prime ag to general ag, and I'll turn that over to John. You want to take us through that?
okay. First, the reason for changing from prime ag to general ag is because in the future, I think you said about September, you would like to start and put up a winery on the property. They already have vines and everything. It came in front of the comprehensive plan committee, and we were in support. There was 5 of us in support and 1 was against, but it still carried. So some of the things that for the proposal consistent with the comprehensive plan, it's thought that we promoted growth and still kept the rural character because there is 20-some acres. The biggest thing that we put in for the conditions is that they have a driveway off of County P and not off the highway, which would help a lot with the congestion. And so right now they have been growing. How many vines did you say you had there?
We have 3,200 hybrid marquettes and then about 180 responsive hybrids.
And so he wants to get a winery, crush their own grapes and make the wine right there and take care of everything on site.
Okay. Anyone have any questions or comments with respect to this?
What is the address of the place?
Pardon?
The address?
4622 Highway 42, it's about 1,000 feet north, or 500 feet north of...
About 300 feet north of
300,
Trunk
okay.
P.
Isn't it just adjacent to the pole building there?
Yes.
On the
Yes.
corner?
The whole building is, yeah,
Right.
on the property.
Okay, but the vines that you're referring are just to the north of that pole building?
Correct.
Right,
Yeah, right on the corner, there's, I think, 2 private residents, right?
Yes,
And there's one come off the highway and one comes off of P.
correct.
And then the next is Maple Heights is on the other side to the north. And to the back, it's just wide open field.
So do you have any additional comments? Otherwise, we will proceed to vote on this. Well, vote after we have a motion, which would be good.
I mean, we're here to answer any questions.
I'm hearing none.
Okay?
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry, I did not.
I noticed that you're doing some work on the existing barn there. It looks very nice, whatever you're doing. And I'm sure it's a lot of work.
It's a money pit, is what it is.
And would that be part of the winery?
Yes,
Building
that'll
itself,
actually
if
be
approved?
adjacent to the driveway coming in off of P.
Your main entrance would be off of County P.
Correct.
Any other questions?
Anything else? If not,
I make a motion to recommend to the RPC for approval.
Second.
okay, we have a motion from John, a second from Chuck for the approval, or I should say, for sending a letter to the RPC in support of the change from rezoning from prime ag to general agriculture. All those Who would like to vote favorably on this issue? Please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carried. So you'll take care of the paperwork with Amy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. You'll be back.
Okay, we're going to go back then to
Thanks.
pending business, and we're going to start with road work for this year. And as we discussed last year and again earlier this year, we had the bids come in prior to the meeting in order to try and consolidate the information to make it easier for us to make a decision and to make it a little easier overall to understand. So we met with the county, John Clogie and Tom Ash, last week, Amy and I did, and opened the bids in their presence, and then we consolidated them on the document that you have in your packet. Going back to where we started with, we have a budget of $200,000 for road construction. We asked for bids on Bluff Drive, Nelson Lane, and Clark Lake Road. So if we start with Bluff Drive, it's 6,800 feet from Bay Shore to Old OR. It's a complete reconstruction, including pulverizing, grading, paving, and gravel shoulders. You see the approximate tonnage in terms of blacktop that would be put down either by Northeast Asphalt or Door County Highway Department. And you see the corresponding bid estimates, which are either $128,990 for Northeast Asphalt for Bluff Drive or Door County Highway Department at $155,082. I have no idea why the variance is that great between the two projects, but
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
can I ask, Tom, what does a ton of hot mix cost these days approximately?
Could you turn up the volume a little bit? It's kind of hard to hear it now.
What does a ton of hot mix cost approximately these days?
Surely depends upon the type, the
Average
job,
type.
quantity. So, I mean, you're looking at somewhere in the, mid-40s, mid-upper 40s.
Well, I was just wondering because, your tonnage and the highway department tonnage, there's not that big a difference, 50 ton, but the price is obviously quite a big difference between the two estimates, so.
Yeah, and that's not the only factor. I mean, there's labor, there's the time, the hours that you estimate the project's going to take. A lot of those factors adjust in that price.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
As long as we're looking at spending that kind of money on fixing that road, why don't we look at that intersection? Right now, it has a two-way stop on it. The people coming up from the Bay Shore do not stop, and they have a wide sweeping curve. If we're going to tear that road up and rebuild it, it wouldn't take a whole lot to regrade that corner and make it a
roundabout?
square, a 90-degree. And I looked at it just yesterday again. Coming from the south, you have a steeper pitch, and that traffic has to stop. The complaint used to be that coming up off the Bay Shore, you had to stop, you'd never get started again in the winter. That is even less of a grade. And if we rebuild that corner, we'd have enough material right there on the spot to level that out so that the person at the stop sign would be able to continue moving. Because right now, nobody stops, or very few people stop when they're coming from the north and going down toward the Bay Shore. They just buzz right around that corner.
Yeah, but to change it now, it's gonna change all the bids.
Right.
This
But
should've
now
been-
would be
this
the
should've
time
been-
to do it. You don't
No,
want
not
to
now.
rebuild the road
Now.
and then come back later.
Well,
after.
now wouldn't have been the time to do it. When the bids went out would have been the time to do it,
Right.
to make that point. Now it's a little too late.
It can still be added in.
Well, it can be added, yeah, but they're gonna have to
And
go
it is
back.
an additional cost, so,
Well,
but it was a thought that came up, that it's a problem. This is a chance to fix it.
okay, well, I'll tell you what, Chuck. there's, the other shoe hasn't dropped yet on this project. So let's hold that thought for a few minutes and continue through the rest of the road work, and then we can circle back to that, okay? So the next road we'd asked for quote on was Nelson Lane, approximately 5,600 feet. And this is from Whitefish Bay heading to Clark Lake Road. You see the tonnage of 873. Option 2 is an overlay with 1 1/4 inch and then gravel shoulders. And the highway department was 53,329. And Northeast Asphalt, a little greater tonnage, again, the same overlay, gravel, etc. Their bid was $60,920. Now, we originally asked, our initial intent was to do a 1 inch overlay, and we ended up giving them both options. So the second set down there, second set is the options for the wedge and overlay. I'm sorry, I'm reading off of a copy that should have changed. So underneath option 1, you'll see $78,652 for the highway department, and Northeast Asphalt was $80,250 for that road. And that was, the second set is the wedge and overlay. The first one is just the overlay. All right. Then we have Clark Lake Road, approximately 4,900 feet from where we did the work last year east to Highway 57. We again asked for an overlay, and we asked for a wedge and overlay, so that's why you have the 2 different options. Initial one is Door County Highway at $47,594, Northeast Asphalt at $51,900, and then the wedge and overlay is $70,824 and $73,390. So, if you'll bear with me for a moment and flip the page. We talked about this. We have some road maintenance and repair that has to be done, and I've taken and broken those out so that we have an understanding of what our total outlay will be for this area. And we have Whitefish Bay Road, and this is the section that heaves every year, and this is where we're going to repave. We've already told the county that they have this job to work on. They're going to put in either culverts or drain tile under the road bed. It's approximately 175 feet of repair. This is $11,000. Jorns Lane, they're going to create a ditch, shoulder, and an overlay, I forget the footage, for approximately $5,500. And then Country View, which is where we have the culvert, the sinkhole out on the road, that repair is $4,250. And then we have the Whitefish Bay Creek Bridge sidewall repair. We visited this when we were out on the road tour. The sidewalls on the culvert are collapsing into the creek. We have gone out and dealt with the DNR, and I have received a permit today from the DNR to be able to repair that. And I'm proposing that we use Nebel Construction. These are the same people that we used to repair the Clark Lake Dam a few years ago. They will be giving us a bid not to exceed $25,000. And they would propose to repair that with a combination of 3 different approaches. One is, where possible, to drive metal sheeting into the bottom of the stream bed and to create a dam area where they will pump concrete in and then pump concrete in between the spaces in the culvert. They will also then apply riprap against that to protect from future ice and freeze cycles. That project is, as I mentioned, not to exceed $25,000. There is a cost share program with the county, which is included in here. They will share 50-50 in the cost of that repair, so that I've totaled that out at $12,500.
Why is the county helping us?
County has a bridge and culvert repair fund for the whole county, and you can apply for the money. It's granted through the highway department. I believe there's a copy of the application I submitted to them in here, and John basically said it will not get denied. It just has to go before the committee, which is July 10th is their next meeting. So the last piece of the puzzle here is the Bellamy Road piece, which runs from the Happy Hour up past the old V-Bar to 57. The county is going to be completely reconstructing Whitefish Bay Road from 57 to Nelson Lane. And in that process, they'll have equipment in there to mill and to deal with the drainage that's under pipes that are underground. And they've given us an approximate cost of $31,000 for us to have our segment milled at the same time. Any drain tile or culvert or whatever needs to be included will be included in that cost. And then they would repave it at the same time that the county does Whitefish Bay Road, which is tentatively set for sometime late fall. So we started off with a road maintenance and repair budget of $10,000. If you add up all those good things, we're just slightly over budget at $64,315. So I should say over budget. That was the total with our budget included. We're $54,000 over budget. So as you can see, we need to pare back a little bit on what road construction we tackle. If we do Bluff Drive, for example, we'll have approximately $16,000 left in our total budget for either repair and or construction for the balance of the year. So that's kind of a try to give you a synopsis of where I think it's at. So I don't think we have a lot of excess money to do much if we either replace or repair much of anything during the course of the year. We're going to be left with little or no money to do any work. So, questions, Linda?
Valmy Road. Does anyone recall what our Whistler rating was for Valmy Road? And also the length? That 31,000 seems pretty high, but.
Not really.
Well, it's 4 lanes.
What is the length?
It's the
Oh.
road width and then the parking too, all at once.
Right.
That's why it
And
is that.
Paved shoulders.
So it's actually twice the length.
Yep, it's twice the length and twice the width, and we have to have it milled down because the curb and gutters are there. And included in that is approximately $5,000 for anticipated drain tile or draining. And I don't know if you saw this, but last fall, they ripped up, took out all the culvert from Welsing's, from the motel, under the gas station, through Welsing's, up to the happy hour. So they propose to replace or repair whatever's coming out of the subdivision and join it up with that junction box that's in the paved area of the happy hour. So if that doesn't happen, we could be a few $1,000s less.
And does anybody recall the rating? Is that road that bad?
I don't remember what the rating was, but
But the
it's
roads-
pretty rough.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think we drove down it.
I don't recall driving, but it's in bad shape. I think we kind of hesitated on doing something each year because we kind of got into a discussion as to whether or not that road belonged to us or the county and whether we owned the Whitefish, and
Right.
so I think we kind of shied away from it. But I think it would be a good idea to do it now, because we basically already committed to that anyhow. But for them to have all the equipment and the milling and everything else there, it would be silly for us not to take advantage of it at the same time. I'm sure it would cost us a lot more. So,
Do we look at forgetting Bluff Road this year and do Clark Lake Road and Nelson Lane? Next year, we shouldn't have all these repairs at 65,000? Can we
Well,
put
I'm-
it off 1 year or no?
I am obviously, I mean, this is your call, but I mean, I think Nelson and Clark Lake would probably have to be delayed, given where we stand in terms of money. If we decide to do Bluff Drive, that'll consume, what, 70% of our budget there, and then the repairs.
Right.
So we end up with very little left. I mean, we could come up with a different alternative, but that would be,
You did Bluff Drive at 129,000.
right.
And all of the maintenance as printed here, that's 64,000. Okay, we're at $193,000 with a budget of 210.
Right. So we don't have much left, and that's basically where I took it. So I guess going back to your comment, Chuck, I don't know where we would go with that. I don't think there's enough money to make changes, and I don't know if we want to try and make changes at this juncture. We'd have to rebid this and extend everything. So where would we like to go?
I think the Bluff Drive was the worst one between Bluff, Nelson, and Clark's Lake Road. So I'm thinking we need to do Bluff Drive. And then all of our maintenance and see what comes after that.
Any other comments, questions?
Well, I have a comment on Whitefish Bay on the curb there just west of HH. That has always been a problem area.
Right.
I think we've fixed and we tried to refix that several times. And with the frost and that coming off the cliff or whatever you want to call it,
That's why they want to change that.
I don't know if it's worth investing another $11,000 into it.
Well, they believe that the problem is driven by water coming off of there and seeping under the roadbed. So their take is, in order to do that, they're going to create a ditch as much as they can, and they're going to put culvert or multiple drain across underneath the roadbed to the other side to take the pressure off. And then he believes, I'm just going by what Thad has told me, but he believes that'll finally fix the problem. But I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't disagree with you, but I don't know what else. It was pretty bad this winter, and so it's one of those, it's kind of like that dip that happens there on 57 by the mill. It heals itself a little bit,
Right.
you know, but whatever. So. Leave it in your trusting hands.
Are you looking for one motion or maybe address road construction in a separate motion?
Well,
Or do you want to
That's bid
adjust
out,
the bids?
or-
Or how
I
do you
think
want
we
to-
need to decide
I
what
think
road
we need-
we're going to do and make that into a motion. We committed to the road repair, at least verbally, with the county.
Well, do we need a motion to accept the bids and place on file?
You probably. We can do that.
All right, I move to accept the bids of Door County Highway Department and Northeast Asphalt as submitted.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion by Linda, second by John, to accept the bids from Northeast Asphalt and Door County Highway Department. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I make a motion that we do Bluff Drive.
And the word to,
Do you want that all in one motion?
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna make a motion to do Bluff Drive. Do you want to award it right away too? And award it to Northeast Asphalt.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by John, second by Chuck, to repave Bluff Drive as described in the bids and to award the bid to Northeast Asphalt. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. So we'll leave Nelson Lane and Clark Lake Road. They will become a priority for us with our next cycle on road construction.
Right.
And we have a good idea what that's going to run, at least a good ballpark. The road maintenance and repair, we basically have told the county to start work on all of that. The Whitefish Bay Creek project with Nebel Construction, we're going to attempt to do that at the water's lowest level. Right now, with all the rain we've had at Clark Lake, the creek is running well over what it normally does. We're targeting an end of July or August timeframe to try and do that repair at the lowest level. We did get the permit, which was, we happened to luck out with a gentleman that does that work for the DNR. I had him out there. He was great to work with, and I'm astounded that we have the permit here today. So we're in good shape.
Does that come up any other place?
Pardon me?
Does that bridge come up any other place?
Does it come up anywhere?
In the agenda?
The only other,
Because I was talking to Armin Tippler, and he was there when they put it together. And he said at the bottom, they put in flagstone, you know, from the fields and that. And he says the county brought out the culverts, they dumped the culverts in, and then they poured gravel over it, and they put a slurry over, a concrete slurry over the top of that, so there's no real surprises in there.
no, and to your point, I think I included in the handouts, every 2 years the bridge is inspected. It has to be inspected by the state, and then the highway department contracts with an engineer. There's pictures in there.
Right.
They actually rate the bridge pretty high, so high that we could not apply for funding external to the county. So it was interesting to see his pictures too, because if you read the text, when he went out there 2 years ago, there was high water. Of course, we don't know that.
Right.
And you could see where the water was on the culverts way up over.
And then, then after that, then they just mortared the bricks on the side, so.
Right. So if you're interested, I did have a brochure from Nebel's, kind of the things they've done, but they did do Clark Lake Dam for us a couple years ago. In there is, just from an informational standpoint, in there also was the request for the bridge and culvert aid that I filled out and submitted, and they acknowledged having it, and that's July 10th that they will let us know about those funds. The bridge inspection report was also in there. Okay. Now, when we started this process on the bids, we talked about this last year, were to reduce some of the confusion, we decided that we'd open up the bids ahead of time and try and consolidate them down like we did tonight for your benefit. And we also talked about the fact that we were going to do that earlier this year. In fact, I think it was at a couple meetings ago. In a conversation with the Wisconsin Towns Association, when I was talking to them about some other things, they recommended that we have a formal motion on file if we're going to do that process out over time. So if you're comfortable with that, then we would have a motion that just says that you're fine with myself and Amy opening the bids ahead of time, consolidating them, and then bringing them to you at the next town board meeting. Otherwise, if you don't want to do that, we'll go back to the old way. But, you know, they suggested that we have a formal motion on file to do that, rather than just a conversation.
With the understanding that the organizations submitting bids can be present at that opening.
And they were this, you know, so. They don't necessarily have to be, but we would have them anyhow. So it's not, actually, believe it or not, they don't have to be, but we would do it anyhow to eliminate any confusion or
When you
problems.
open them.
Yeah. So, anyway, if you agree with that, then somebody just put that in a motion and we'll have it on record and we'll move on to the next item.
Okay, I'll move that following proper publication of the bid notice and receipt of timely bids, that the clerk and the chairman is authorized to open the bids, put to a spreadsheet for the sake of convenience, correct?
Correct.
With the option that anyone submitting a bid will be notified of date and time.
Good. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, nice job, Linda. Okay, motion by Linda, and I won't attempt to regurgitate that. You've captured it all, I'm sure. Second by John. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay. All right, Clark Lake Dam, Tony?
Dam, I was out there this afternoon. We're at 9.4. I cleaned the grates. It's running high, but we got, since last Thursday morning at 6 o'clock, we've got approximately 6 inches of rain. So that raises that lake quite a bit. But it's flowing good, so. Again, you can't fight Mother Nature. All the boards are
No,
open.
there's been no dissatisfied voters. that I'm
Everybody's
aware of.
happy.
So,
Life is good.
all right. All right, anything else regarding the lake itself?
Well, I've got did a little report with, the fellas put the buoys in
Oh, on the committee
at
minutes?
the
and things?
beach, yeah.
Okay,
So on the committee stuff, I'll talk about
all
that.
right. Haverly Road parking lot, status, Chuck?
The town received the construction plan, everything is in order. The Soil and Water Department is working with the Door County Highway Department right now, getting it on a schedule. Kalauji told him he has a couple of weeks worth of work that needs to be done, and then he might be able to get at it. So, probably looking middle to the end of July. Highway Department will get in and start doing their work.
They, obviously, I think you all saw the Soil and Water Cooperative Agreement that I signed and sent back. Chuck worked with them to amend the concerned areas regarding maintenance and closing the area if in fact there was future issues. So I think that all came out great, and you had seen it before I saw it, or before I signed it. So thank you for that. So
They did change a little bit from what I requested, but basically says the same thing, I guess.
Well, they had an attorney. We only had you know. So, okay.
They needed an attorney after I got done with it.
You want to touch on the landfill and where we're at with the stumps and stuff like that nature?
The landfill is about the same as the Clark Lake Dam. If it doesn't quit raining, we're doomed. It is so wet right now, we cannot get at the clay. We cannot get on the landfill to do the work. So we're just waiting for Mother Nature. If it dries up sometime this year, we'll get out there and finish the job.
Okay. Well, when you get to the point where there's something, let me know and we'll put it back on the agenda for follow-up. All right. Okay, next item was committee appointments. Pleased to announce that Leo has agreed to participate in all of the committee openings that we have. Is that correct, sir?
I have a problem, period.
Huh? Kind of thought so. Okay. I did ask him, I did not get a positive response. So, all right, committee, you have a sheet in front of you that it has how many openings we had by individual committee. I was able to secure a couple new members, one of which is in our audience tonight, Jim Nellen, who has taken on the Plan Commission, and I thank you for joining us in that effort, Jim. We have also had a gentleman by the name of Terry Riker, who lives on Bayshore Drive, who wants to be on the Fire and Rescue Committee, and since our Fire and Rescue Committee is in a state of inaction for a while because our contract is fixed for almost 2 years, I was able to convince him that he might want to be on the Property Management Committee. So he has agreed to do that, and apparently knows, at least on a casual basis, knows Chuck. So he's going to be added to the Fire and Rescue as well as Property Management. And Linda's agreed to be added to the Property Management Committee and the Tourism Zone Committee. So we're slowly getting where we need to be. We still have one opening on the PEG channel and one opening that remains on the Plan Commission. I know Linda would like to be on there, but I'd like to try and get one more townsperson on that committee versus another supervisor, so I'm gonna leave that open for a little bit. And if there's anybody else out there that would like to participate on anything, feel free to give us a call or call Amy, and we'll be happy to do that.
How long is a little bit?
Could be 6 months to a year. I don't know. It'll probably be a couple months. That would be my guess. And hopefully, I have one other person that mentioned they might be interested, so I haven't had a chance to corner them and see if they'll
Because I see
see what's up.
you don't have Ed Paul on there because he made his last meeting today, so.
Right, and you should have the updated list,
Yep.
right? Okay. So if something changes, let me know, and if not, we'll try and fill out the rest of these. And since,
Just a comment, the tourism zone is a commission, not a committee.
sorry,
And we are entitled to 2 representatives on that commission at this point.
Right.
So,
and I have Linda
will
and
be-
yourself.
Linda and myself is fine, but we both attend the meetings. We each have a vote.
Right,
Our town gets 2 votes in this commission based on the value collected for the commission as far as the room tax goes.
Supervisor Tice, may I ask when your meetings normally are? Are they on a Wednesday?
Look on my calendar. Third Wednesday of the month.
Okay.
And the full commission meets every other month, and the executive committee meets the other periods. So we just had the full board meeting, so next month will be our month off. We do have the right to attend the executive meeting if we wish. We would not have a vote in it at that point, though.
And do you think we need an alternate for the coastal byway? I go to all the meetings as a secretary. Sometimes
Well, you
it's
could-
hard to get a quorum,
You could be the alternate, just because you're there already.
so that we can reach a quorum if
Sure.
you were absent.
yeah, I'd be happy to do that if you are.
I don't know if we could have 2 reps at the same meeting. The alternate is
You only get
a
one
fill-in.
vote.
You
Right.
get one vote.
You get one vote.
So it would not help the quorum situation, I don't believe.
It would help the quorum situation if I was available and you were not.
Correct. But if
But
we
it's
were both
only-
there
if we're
and
both
we
there,
still didn't have a quorum.
You
it
only
wouldn't-
vote, right. I don't know, just a thought.
Okay,
Doesn't matter.
all right. All right, next item is the weed ordinance, which I spotted on my desk when I got here, which is, here it
Those
is.
weeds.
And by the way, the fellow that, for your committee, was a weed commissioner in the town of Middleton as well. He didn't miss many commissioner jobs, so. Anyway, go ahead, Chuck.
Well, when we put the weed ordinance together, using the state statutes and a couple of other municipal ordinances as models, I had put the weed commissioner. Weed commissioner is pretty much not necessary anymore, as long as we have a person, a designated person in charge, which could be the town chairman or any officer that he would appoint to that position. Mainly because the weed commissioner would need to have a license and go out and actually do the spraying and that, whereas if the town officer would be able to hire that work done. And the way we're working it right now, we're working with the county. The county mainly does the hiring, and, all we are doing is the locating and the notification, and the county would see that the spraying got done. The cost would still be turned back to the property owners if necessary, if there were no grant dollars to pay for it. So what I did here is I just modified it a little bit. I took out the word weed commissioner. I put in the chairperson or any designated officer of the town in several different spots on there. And it will be an amended ordinance, so in the title, it's amended 6/19 of 2017. And the signature voting on it would be adding Linda as our new supervisor. So the red is the removal, the green is the addition. And I would make a motion that we approve the amendment to the weed ordinance number 01-2016, amended on 6/19 of 2017, an ordinance regulating noxious weeds and terrestrial invasive plants in the town of Sevastopol.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Chuck, a second by Tony regarding an updated and amended ordinance regarding noxious weeds and terrestrial invasive plants. We'll have to look that word up. Is there any comments from anybody before we vote on this?
It's pretty cut and dried. I mean, I think the last weed commissioner we used probably, that I can remember, none. So.
All right.
I don't ever remember using him, but,
Any other comments? This, I believe, has to be roll call. So, in that case, we will let Amy call.
Supervisor John Stabenus.
Aye.
Supervisor Chuck Tice.
Aye.
Supervisor Tony Hayne.
Aye.
Chairman Dan Wolfle.
Aye.
Supervisor Linda White.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries.
Should say R.
Okay, move on a little bit of new business here, and really this is more for information, which is the contract with Associated Appraisal expires at the end of August. I don't anticipate anybody coming in or a need to replace them, but just giving you fair notice that that is when it is up, so we will bring it back at that time. Okay? And then Linda brought in the Door County Coastal Byway support for the historical registry on stone fences and rock piles. And Linda, tell us what it is that you would like us to do.
Well, I think Supervisor Tice, as representative to the Door County Coastal
So
Byway,
we're passing the buck,
could
is that?
recap what happened last week at our meeting.
Okay. That was
The
a very-
Department of Transportation is in the process of rebuilding Highways 57 in the northern end of the county. And they were going to remove what were called stone fences, which are in the right-of-way of the highway. People up there over the years have been fighting with the DOT to leave those stones alone. And they are historic stone piles from years back, when the farmers picked them out of the fields and put them in these piles. Some of the new fences were created in the newer generation here by taking stones from those piles and putting them into nice walls or whatever. Through the discussion, DOT decided they will leave them alone again this time. Doesn't mean they can stay there forever, though. But in the meantime, a group of people thought in order to preserve that heritage, we should try to get the Historic Society, Wisconsin Historic Society, to take a look at this. And they made contact The Historic Society is very interested in them. They would like to have them surveyed, take pictures, find out who built them, when they were built, how big they are, what they contain, their locations and everything, and they would be very interested in getting them on the historic record. So if that went through, they would possibly even push to get it on the National Historic Record. But then it got to the thought that, well, there's more than just the ones the DOT wanted to take away. They're all over the county. So what they're asking now is anybody else interested? Are there any in our town, even if they are on the back roads or on the highway, that would, people would like to include them? And whether or not the town would go along with this and maybe make the requests and so forth. People have to realize that you own the stone pile. If it goes on the historic record, nobody else can really touch it or do anything to it. But it's yours, so you would be able to sell it or move it or whatever, but only you. And we haven't come up with a clear answer yet as to what happens to it should you sell the property. Does the new owner own it now, or do they have to follow the historic rules and leave it alone? So there are a few questions that need to be answered, but what we're looking for is whether or not the town would be in agreement with this, and would they support this effort. We're not asking for any financial aid or anything to do this.
Yeah, right. That was gonna be my question. At
This
this
is
time.
another one of those things where it won't cost you anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Until you
Can
say,
hear it
okay.
coming already. Amy, make
But,
note to increase our budget by $2 million to cover this project.
We don't have any.
Once these things would get recorded and registered, they would have to be kept up. And again, they are private property, so hopefully the homeowner or the property owner would maintain these piles by keeping the brush out of them, not allowing garbage to accumulate on them, no more throwing your tin cans and spare tractor parts and that on the stone pile anymore.
What?
But it's a thought. The ones that are visible up there on the highway probably definitely do attract tourists. They're looking at them, they walk around and pick around in them, you know, finding fossils and that. That kind of stuff would have to stop too. Once they're registered, they're an artifact. You can't be picking it apart though, so. And people were trespassing anyway. So. But it's basically whether or not we would think it's a worthwhile project and whether or not we would go along with it.
I would be in full support of that if they doesn't cost us a dime.
Well, that could be a stipulation. We could support it, we will not finance it.
So are they just asking us to send a letter basically saying we're in favor of it?
Being in support of it, helping maybe locate these things if we know of any in the town, giving them the contact information so we know who to go to.
Where's that rock pile that we have over here that we always look at to move? If he gets that registered, then we probably can't get it moved. It's in our road right away with the telephone pole. Yeah.
Whitefish Bay Road?
Yeah, on the other end.
Oh, yeah, oh, great. This is going downhill, Chuck. I think you might want
That is not a historic rock pile.
Why?
In his eyes, it
The
is.
rocks have been there just as long as the other ones.
Wow.
All he'd have to do is get it registered.
Linda, you have some thoughts?
Yeah, I was at that meeting as well, and I can tell you that the town of Gibraltar and the Jacksonport Plan Commission voted against jumping on board, mainly because they felt there were too many strings attached. And personally, I think I would need more information from the Wisconsin Historical Society on what are the logistics, what are going to be the regulations and the rules, and likewise, subsequent owners, what responsibility they would have. So, like I said, personally, I think I would need a little more information from Wisconsin Historic Society and what it takes to register these and maintain them.
That's what I wrote down, questions answered first. So, anybody else have some strong feelings? I mean, I like the fence rows. I don't have an issue with them. I'd be supportive just along the same lines as Linda. So if you want to communicate that we would look favorably if all of these things happen, but otherwise and the caveat, there is no $0 involved, I'd say yes.
And even though the stone fence is in the right-of-way, the private property owner owns that right-of-way. We have access to the right-of-way, and we can cut it and maintain it, but the private property owner owns the property, so.
I'm going to take you on some calls where there are some tree issues. Thank you. All right, is that,
Well, we can take it back and get answers to questions.
okay. I mean, I think it's I like the idea, I'm not against it, and I don't think anybody is, but I think the caveat is there's too many things that are open-ended that we need some answers, and we certainly are not going to jump in with any cash. So, and if anybody has stone piles that they'd like to call,
If anybody
let us
has
know
any
about.
specific questions they want asked, if they will get them to me or Linda, we will take it back and see if we can get those answers, or
Yeah, how much money?
Yeah. Okay.
Further down the line, how much money? Right now, it's
All right, sounds good. All right, let's go on to financial reports. In your packet, you have the fund balances through May 31st. You have the budget versus actual amended January through May. And you have the transaction list by date. And at my first glance, when I looked at it, I thought, where did we have dinner at Glidden Lodge for $430? And then I realized that
I wasn't invited.
I wasn't invited either. And I'm thinking, did Linda have dinner there? And, and then I remembered that it was their liquor, because it was not something we spent, it's something we got. So I felt much better after having thought through that for a couple minutes. So we have that information that we'd like to deal with. But before I do that, Amy has a treasurer's report, so we'll give her a couple minutes here to fill in the blanks.
All right, if we look at the dues and membership category, we're a bit above the budgeted amount. That number is a bit higher because we had some board members go through some training through the Wisconsin Towns Association, and also because our dues for the Wisconsin Towns Association was about $100 more than last year. If you look at the office equipment category, we are also above the budgeted amount. It's because we've had some maintenance done to both our laptop and our desktop computers in the past 3 months. If you look at our postage category, it is down from last year, a considerable amount. If I took both 2016 and 2017 numbers through this month and compared them, last year we were at 20.8% and this year we are at 3.8%. It's primarily due for me utilizing email for sending invoices to customers that prefer it that way. Today I did receive the notice that our break wall CD is coming due at the end of June. It was renewing last year, or the percent last year was 0.25. I did call the bank today, and if it continues to renew this year, it will renew at 0.80.
Um, Just a footnote on that break wall CD. This came up last year, I think, during the budget cycle. And I contacted the DNR because we were under the impression that we had to have and maintain that. And I don't know if you recall, but we do not. There's no requirement. There is nothing in writing. I went through various organizations in the DNR. So we have $10,000 parked in there that we could consider at budget time moving to something else or continue on. So just as an FYI, that's a one-year CD renewing when, Amy?
It renews at the end of this month, 6/30.
All right. If anybody has a strong feeling on that, let me know. We got a couple weeks. Worst case, if we actually cashed it out early, we'd lose about, what, $1.50?
0.25%.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Can we congratulate our clerk treasurer for, as of tomorrow, she will be on the job 1 full year?
Wow.
It's that,
Yay.
really?
Yay.
Congratulations, I had no idea. It seemed like she's been here for decades.
Yeah.
Or is that just how you think it's been?
Can we back up to the transition list date in that?
I'm sorry, what?
You know, the transactions in that?
Yeah.
On page, I don't know, that got cut off, but I'm just curious, maybe Laddie can answer this. Why are we videotaping at Hune's funeral home twice?
We're getting paid for those. And they serve as material for our cable channel.
We're videotaping somebody's funeral?
The family requested it in all cases. They would like to see it on YouTube and they would like to see it on our cable channel.
Oh,
And their local residents, all not necessarily Sevastopol.
okay. I
It
just,
sounds a little weird too.
I went through there and I went, what?
They want,
Huh?
They had family members that are out of state and couldn't attend the funeral, so they thought they just, by watching it on YouTube, they could be there.
okay,
But
but
they
not on our,
contacted Laddie and they wanted a permanent video record of it, so.
but not on our TV channel.
Yes,
Yes.
they requested.
They volunteered or offered to let it play on TV too.
It's entertainment unless someone has a serious objection to it. It's,
How is it entertainment? The guy's dead.
well, it's not for the dead that we're doing this.
Yeah.
Really? I don't know, that just seems a bit much to me. I don't know, you might have to revisit the future one. All right. Well, gee, thanks for bringing that up, John.
Well,
It's a little different.
it is a little
yeah,
different. I just
Watch
could not.
public television, you get these
Huh?
odd things.
Pat
Only
Miller's-
the good
Pat
die young.
Miller's was televised as well.
Okay.
Okay, I guess I just didn't recall that, so I'm terribly sorry. Okay. So back to, I'm sorry, Amy, you're done, right?
I'm done.
I'm sorry, I kind of jumped around here a little bit, so we want to, motion to accept the financial reports. Let's go back to that.
I'll make a motion to accept the financial report as stated by the clerk treasurer of 1 year.
And the clerk treasurer.
I will second that motion.
Okay, so we've got motion by John, seconded by Linda to accept the financial reports and the clerk treasurer's report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay. Approval, vouchers, bills, and claims. Has everybody had a chance to sign those?
Should
And
be down that way someplace.
Yep, it's here.
pardon me?
Yep, it's right here.
It's all done?
Yep.
Okay.
Move to approve the vouchers, bills, and claims for May 16, 2017 through June 19 of 2017.
I will second that.
Motion by Chuck, second by Tony for the approval of vouchers, claims, and bills, May 16th through June 19th, 2017. No further discussion. We will, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay, and motion carries. Okay, oral committee or commission reports, minutes, etc. We have no printed minutes. Does anyone have anything they would like to talk to on that topic, our committee or whatever?
Just that there's gonna be another conditional use permit for the same people coming through for the winery, the actual winery. They didn't get it in time, so, I don't know what exactly happened there, but it won't come out till Wednesday, so they'll be coming back and we'll be going over to pretty much the same thing.
Okay,
And we will have to have a presentation at that time. They wanna show you how they're building the building
Okay.
and everything, so,
all right.
from Keller.
We'll expect that on next month's agenda.
I would probably expect that, yes.
All right. Anyone else?
Yep, I do.
All right, Tony?
Buoys are in at Clark Lake Beach. Guys got those in. I already talked about the dam. Jumping to Whitefish, I gave everybody, board members got a copy of the sign that the fire department, Fire Chief Tim Herlash contacted Dan. Dan sent me a copy. This is gonna be erected at Whitefish Boat Launch Ramp. Just reminding people, wear your life jacket, wear them. Be safe, go in groups. They put them at Shower Park. Most of the launches are putting them at. He asked if they could do it, and we figured it was.
And
like-
did you agree on a place to put it somewhere?
Yes.
Okay.
Like the chief said, if we even save, you don't know if you're gonna save anybody's lives, but if you even save one. And then also down there at Whitefish Bay, if anybody sees a green porta potty just floating around the town, it's ours, somebody stole it. I was down there today, it's not there, Amy called Captain Commode, and they did put one there, but it's gone. I mean,
thought
unless
we
it's,
rented them.
unless it's cleverly disguised,
We do rent.
but it's not there, I couldn't see it.
Well, I'll double check it tonight, but assuming it's missing,
I mean, it's sitting right where it normally sits, and it
Right.
was not there. Unless somebody took it I
For
kid
the
you not,
hunting
it
camp?
wasn't there today. But anyway,
I had a graduation party and used it.
couple things at the park. We don't have a Legion team this year, so the guys have a little more time. There's no doubleheader men's or women's. So they have more time. They power wash the picnic tables and they water seal them. They're gonna do the bleachers. They're all gonna get water sealed. They're gonna scrape and paint all the dugouts. We've got new mulching around the trees. They put new mulch around the playground area. They're gonna be digging out the grass and some of the old sand around the playground, to slide and everything and clean that up. And then they've also went, I think it was Friday, but I'm not sure, Thursday or Friday, they went and cleaned up the kiosk at Grandma Tommy's. And they spent a few hours there weeding and cleaning it up, so it looks pretty good. So, that's it.
Can I ask you a question? At your next Parks Committee meeting, I've been asked if you could take a look at banning open fires at the boat ramp down there.
Banning open fire?
Banning them. So you
People
can't
are
have
having
one right there
campfires
on our
down there.
property.
Okay,
I guess there was a couple down there and they were real close to the beach grass and
okay.
some people were concerned about that. Which,
I would think we'd have control over that, wouldn't we?
I would think so, I don't know.
Let me look at the ordinance one. I'll look the ordinances.
I mean, if it's on our property, we do, but if it's off on that other lot, we don't have any control over that lot.
which is usually where it's at. I
Right.
mean, 9 times out of 10 when I walk down there, it's always.
But that was my specific question, was it on our property or was it on that lot? And they said, no, it was on our property and the logs were still there, so I
Okay.
don't know if they just left them burn out or what, but
I don't know if we have an ordinance on anything like that, or,
I'm not sure. That's
I'll
why I
look.
gave it to you.
yeah, I'll look, okay, all right.
I don't remember the verbiage that's all on that sign that's in there. I'd have to
Right.
look at that, because there's a sign that we posted last year
Yeah.
that had hours and other things.
I
I
will,
don't think burning was addressed,
I'll
but
look
I
for
don't
that.
recall. Maybe we can just add a line to that. Okay, anybody, or anyone?
I
Yes.
put on your desk, Door County Visitors Bureau's financial statement and audit for the year. You also have the one from the Door County Tourism Zone Commission. I believe Tony, you don't, because we ran short. But,
Thanks, Chair.
Share one. Room tax revenue for 2016 topped out at $4,459,019. Back in 2009, when we started this, we got $3,051,712. So things are really moving along nicely. Revenue for the revenue earned on renting rooms was, in 2009, was $55,013,656. In 2016, it was $82,467,211. So I think the commission really pulled something together here with the room tax. It's really making a difference in the county. We're gaining tourism. Economy is picking up again. The big problem now is we don't have the labor. A lot of places are still looking for laborers, dishwashers, waitresses, housekeepers. So if anybody's looking for work, it's out there. Second item would be the Fred Mighties under the weed ordinance. I met with Krista Lutzke, Dortoni Soil and Water, and invasive species team. We had a meeting with the Bay Shore property owners. We have not gotten any answer back as to whether or not they would sign on with our program, but they do have their own program running where they are looking for these weeds along the shores and the roads and reporting them into the county. They do have matching funds to help eradicate the problem if anybody on that is a member of their organization has that problem. I am waiting for a meeting with the Glidden Drive Association to see how they want to work with us or not. Ms. Goldberg here, Nancy, has made a voluntary offer to run or help with this program. So we will be meeting. I thought Krista was going to set something up here shortly, but hopefully we'll get the thing going. It's too late this year, I believe, to really put the program into effect. We did not get the trespass notices out. We did not post in May the notice, class 2 notice that has to go in the paper. So we will work at it this year, just kind of haphazardly, and next year hopefully we'll get it off to a good running start. So.
Okay. Linda, did you have a question on something?
Yes, I'm not really sure this is a committee, maybe it's more of a budget item, but in our budget, under town employee, we did budget $15,000 for the park and grounds and $3,000 for the town hall. And I think we're to the point now where we need some maintenance on the town hall grounds, freshen up the mulch, the spreading yews need serious trimming or removal, and you know, it's been almost 10 years, and our town hall grounds need some attention too, and with not so many ball games and so much attention needed to the ball fields, that maybe Connor and Tyler could, you know, figure an afternoon at the town hall or something like that per week. 'Cause we did budget for town hall grounds as well.
What do you want done in the back here?
Push and prune, you want the mulch?
Oh, yeah,
The
they've got
mulch needs freshening up, those spreading yews are way out of hand, and, you know, tree trimming,
yeah,
just
they've
some
got,
general maintenance. The park looks fantastic, like you said, you added fresh mulch over there, and everything looks very nice and pristine and clean over there, and.
Would you like to
Now, maybe-
champion that?
Sure.
I mean, I
She'd
don't
like
think
to
there's a
what?
labor issue,
I
and
think
you
between
did a lot of
Amy
the
and
stuff.
Don and Judy, our cleaning people, we could come up with a very detailed list, and
Okay,
whenever they had extra time,
Oh, good, I was hoping that you weren't gonna have some people help you outside with trimming and stuff, so he has a bad hip.
Give me give me a list and I'll get it to them, cause they've got time, like I say, they're
Right.
cleaning a lot of stuff up.
There are some projects that we can certainly use them for this year.
I could loan them to the town for,
Thank you.
after.
Like I said, we did,
We're
we
gonna
do
take it out of
have
your budget
town hall
anyhow, Tony.
budgeted.
Yeah, you're gonna take it on my budget anyway, Linda.
It's
So
town,
why even-
it's
why,
town
you know,
employee, not town park employee.
Okay.
We're still taking it out of his budget,
All right.
save our money.
So we've settled that issue. You know, you're lucky
One
because
last
she
one.
passed the ball to Chuck earlier pretty well. And she's done it again. Go ahead.
The nuisance committee had sent out a letter to a resident
Oh, yeah.
about 30 days ago now. He missed the deadline as far as doing anything to clean the property up. The second letter is ready to go. This one's a little stronger, detailing the fines and penalties involved if he doesn't move on. I just want to know if we're going to go ahead with this issue, or are we going to drop it again like we've been doing over the years?
All right.
And we don't need to get people upset and do something like that if we're not gonna carry it through, so. We've got $15,000 in the budget to enforce this. I think it's time we start doing something.
Yeah.
I think that was our premise all along and why we put the money in there. So
Yeah.
I don't see any,
I was under the impression that if we weren't gonna do anything, we'd put the money in there. But
And I saw a note too that we were supposed to contact the attorney and find out if he was willing to carry it on, or do we need to look for an attorney that will?
well, the attorney should do what we say, I would think.
But if he's not going to do it with his heart in it,
Well, then
you
we
know,
need a new
he's not
attorney.
doing the job.
You're right, then we need a new attorney, so. They're working for us, we're not working for
we could
them.
get a starter attorney that just works in nuisance cases for us. I mean, you know, we don't need the, I mean, the message here is we want to pursue these things. I thought we pretty much put that to bed, so. I mean, obviously, we don't want to spend 15,000 on one little nasty yard. But I would take the next step and let's see if we can't move something, get it
The
done.
thing is, if you start, it's this, we've done it with the Tourism Zone Commission. We took it to court, we won the battle. More people are apt to settle the problem or solve their problems, you know, come clean without pushing it any further than. When I originally started this, checking with attorneys and that, they said you win that one, you get your money back, and you use it to continue the process. So it's be a self-funding operation, if you will. You know,
If they've got money to pay for it.
But you needed the seed money.
Yeah.
We've got the seed money now, so if we're willing to move it forward, I'll continue on.
Yeah.
Speaking of which.
All right, last call on that topic, or we're gonna move on. Anybody got anything else that you're harboring?
Spin Junior.
All right, here we go. License and permits, we have in your packet, you have the Door County zoning and safe-built building inspection permits, et cetera. All right. And if there's any questions there, if not, the next item is the
Yeah, I did.
alcohol. Go ahead.
How come, most of them went down the line and put agent, Pat Welsing, agent, and at the end, they started trade name Institute Saloon.
I don't know, you're ahead of me,
Oh, sorry.
but that's okay. It's- What you can do is, we're gonna go on to the alcohol and beverage license renewal application, and we're gonna give that question to Amy.
Okay.
Amy, this is all yours, operator license, et cetera.
Well, everyone except for one establishment did reapply for their alcohol and beverage license. So all of them are up for renewal. The trade name thing,
I can answer that
Linda
question
knows.
for you, Supervisor Stabenus. If it's owned by an individual, you do not need to name an agent. So Dennis and
okay.
Kay are the owners of the Institute, so they do not need to name an agent.
So they are-
Only corporations and partnerships need to have an agent.
I see, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we've had the fire chief or the fire inspections done on all these. We've had all of their ball fees, property tax, and any other associated things all paid.
Correct.
Okay, this is probably close to a first for years.
Yeah.
Apparently having a new clerk treasurer really get things done.
Everyone was very early, except for one. Everyone was very early.
Are you looking for a motion?
We are looking for a motion.
I will move to approve the alcohol beverage license renewal applications as outlined by the clerk. There are 4 Class A license and 8 combination Class B license, subject to payment in full of all license fees, any outstanding invoices to the county or the town, compliant with a registered agent when needed, and satisfactory fire and business inspections.
Could you repeat that, Amy? Didn't get it all.
I can actually, because I have it
I'm
written
kidding.
down.
Don't worry.
Oh, it's not
got it.
fair.
I will second that motion.
All right, motion by Linda, seconded by Chuck for the approval of the alcohol beverage license renewal applications we have received and on our file. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion's carried. Thanks, Linda.
How many extra liquor licenses do we have as of right now?
Well,
With the one that we're not renewing, I believe there's 3.
yeah,
3? Okay. 'Cause
Yes.
Plus a reserve.
but we believe the one is gonna be renewed.
a couple that was here was inquiring a little bit about a liquor license for the winery. And I said, I think we
Yeah,
have 2 or 3.
They would have a Class A wine only, which there wouldn't be a limit on that.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I think it was last month.
So we are down to this county board report with District Supervisor Linda Wade.
All right, I'm going to mention 4 items, and that's all, all right?
You're on the clock.
So, a couple weeks ago, the county board supervisors went on a tour of the Door County parks. So I would encourage all of you, residents and visitors and tourists alike, we have 19 county parks in Door County, comprising almost 1,000 acres with swimming beaches and restrooms and picnics and playgrounds. So for the summer, I was to 2 parks that I had never even been to, Sugar Creek and LaSalle Park, both beautiful areas. So when you're out and about, need a place to picnic, check them out. The second thing, I put some business cards on the first table there. Speaking of parks again, there's a land use services committee formed under the Parks Department. They're looking at the John Miles County Park, which is the fairgrounds, used to be called the fairgrounds. And they're trying to get some input from residents and businesses or whatever. What do you see for the long-term plan for John Miles? You know, how could your organization better use the park, or what new buildings or facilities would you like to see? There's a survey available online. Again, it's on the business card there, or just contact Mariah Good in planning or one of her people, and they'll be happy to direct you to a very short survey. And then thirdly, there is a housing rehab grant program available to Northeast Wisconsin residents. Again, if you contact, I believe the planning department has information. It's for homeowners. The minimum loan amount is $1,000. Loans are offered at 0% interest. So if you're looking to rehab your house, that might be a good opportunity for you. And then fourthly, I'd just like to mention once again, our Sevastopol community, our first responders, friends and neighbors came together with the recent farm accident with Pete Piat, and he's recovering from a serious farm injury. If you're interested, now a lot of friends and family and neighbors have volunteered to help him with farm chores and the work that needs to be done this time of year. But there's also a fund established at Capital Credit Union if anybody wished to make a donation towards that fund. And that's it.
Thank you very much. All right, we are down to correspondence. There's not a great amount. There is some good news. The water tests came back. You may have a large glass before you leave, so no problem there. There's an amendment to the Door County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance. Copy that was approved, which encompassed a variety of things. We received a check for $183 from the old MTC, Municipal Taxpayers Commission. For those of you who don't remember what that was from, that was the effort of the towns in the county, towns, villages, to try and reduce the impact of NWTC. I might have missed that. I did. Reduce the impact of NWTC's taxes on our area. We had some success, not as much as we'd like, but that organization has kind of stood still with nothing happening for a long time. So they've basically broken apart and issued refunds back of the remaining balances. So Amy's got the $183. We also have a note in here from the Bay Shore property owners telling us that they had a number of families come together and do some cleaning of the highways and the byways, and they just let us know of their work effort. And there is also included in here a note from Tim Detman, and I think I've covered some of this in the past, but Tim has been successful working with the new district attorney and the new sheriff to get some enforcement on fireworks ordinances and violations where in the past there wasn't a lot of interest in pursuing this problem. So I give him kudos for getting ahead of it, because it has been a problem in certain areas. And last night we didn't have a problem, but at 10:30 last night we had a neighbor decided for a half hour to start 4th of July a month early. So it creates problems from a fire perspective. It creates a nuisance problem, and especially people who have young kids that are up here really are bothered by it and voice their concern. So at any rate, he's got some changes. It's a positive. You should be aware of it. That's good news. The Tourism Zone Commission statements in here, notice of a timber cutting. And also I included in here, in my many conversations, I almost feel sorry for the Wisconsin Towns Association. I call them too often. But I went through the bidding requirements, and there's really two areas. $5,000 or less, we don't have to do any bidding whatsoever. For contracts between 5 and 25, and in this case, I'll give you an example, was our contract with Lily Bay. We had to give a Class 1 notice prior to entering into the contract a week before. There's no requirement that we had to have low bids or anything else. It's more of a public notice that our intentions are to do whatever. And of course, contracts over $25,000 have to be bid, and I think you're all familiar with that, with the exception of contracts for government entities. So if we did the county with highway work, we didn't have to do anything. So the only other thing that came up in a conversation regarding roads is that apparently, and I only mention it because it's part of bids, some of the towns and villages, which I have not talked to, are now using Bodwin to do a bid spec for their roads and to make sure all of the bids are compliant, that the work, the road bed, et cetera, are all done, and they're dealing with square yards and tonnage and et cetera, et cetera. They apparently charge a percentage of the cost of the road for doing this work. I understand it's supposedly nominal fee. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to call them. I may follow up on that and see if it's something we may want to do in the future sometime. I don't know.
The town of Egg Harbor
Big Harbor does it.
And I believe Jacksonport did it as well.
Jacksonport, Liberty Grove, quite a few have decided to go with it. Steve Parent does that. So I'll pursue that, or at least understand that better. Mr. Birmingham, his issue was resolved to the good. And Sturgeon Bay Fire Department, their notice here, I think we have 2 or 3 burning complaints. So this, I started a conversation with Amy regarding a newsletter, and I just wonder if there isn't a way that we can expand on our end-of-the-year tax statement. And we can talk further about that, but there's a lot of topics that we might want to include in the tax statement where somebody reads it, or at least has a better opportunity to read it, because so many of our seasonal people don't have mailboxes, aren't here, and we miss any real good penetration. So that's in there.
I got one comment on that.
Sure.
The fire department really does save cats.
Good news.
Yep. It's
Thank
right
you.
in there. It's on one of their calls.
I think that's the way it should be. Hopefully, they save the homeowner second. Okay. Charter Communication, we received their funds, and you have the permitted establishments for the Tourism Commission. And lastly, you have the 50th anniversary of the Whitefish Bay Dune State Park. And I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but it's really starting to irritate me. The other day, there was an article in the Press Gazette saying Jacksonport's Whitefish Bay Dune State Park. They have claimed this thing, and they don't have any of it. So if we see that, we're gonna start sending the perpetrator a little notice that they should at least check to see geographically where that sits. So I think that's it, other than some announcements, which the Board of Review is Monday, June 26th at 1 p.m. here at the Town Hall. The Sevastopol Historical Society will have the history of the Lily Bay. Their program is June 26th at 7 p.m. here at the Town Hall. The FFA, Alumni Dairy Breakfast, Sunday, July 2nd at the Wilkie Organic Farm, owned by Kevin and Tricia Wilkie on State Highway 42 north of Clark Lake Road. And if you haven't been there, you can eat breakfast with 4,000 other people.
You just go early.
And the Board of Supervisors meeting is Monday, July 24th, the next one, at 7 p.m. So with that, are there any other agenda items that we want to pick up next month?
I was just gonna ask, Amy, do you still plan on attending the municipal clerks?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, so you will be out of the office?
the
That's
week
Jill.
of July 10th through the 14th, I want to say. All week,
And will you send pictures of us that you're there?
definitely.
Okay, all right.
Sure.
You know, you could be slipping off to Ephraim or something. We'd like to know. Do we have a coverage plan, or are we just going to post? We're far enough away, but just,
Yeah,
How do you feel, Linda?
well, you and I can talk about that.
Okay.
At least check emails and phone messages so that you don't have 500 when you get back.
You're coming straight up.
okay. Anything else on agenda items? If not, the next thing that would be on a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Chuck, to adjourn this evening's festivities. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.